I think, like, okay, so this is, I'm going to say this, right? I listened to the Celtic Ligers there for the first time in a while for the Leo episode because, you know, a lot of like actually respectable German journalists were talking to me being like, oh, are they getting rid of him because all the stuff he said about Israel? And like,
oh my God, shut up.
And I had to explain to him, like, actually, everyone's really angry at how he treated that and all think it was like insufficient bollocks. You know, it's probably some other shit. But yeah, no, I had to explain to, like, I have like several emergency Irish podcasts to listen to that were done about Leo Varadkar. So, but yeah, Celtic Ligers is very well produced. Like,
really?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't sound so surprised.
No, you should. No, I mean, like, you should hear, like, who was given out. It was somebody who was. I mean, I'm not naming him. I'm just saying that he was thrown. Well, he named him, but he was thrown.
You get
some
people and they're like, "This is unlistenable."
Yeah,
they get so upset, and then you get some people who are like, "It's amazing." You know,
yeah,
Gareth does it all, but
yeah, my favorite thing was that, like, one of the complaints that we got, and do not name them. All right, was that they were trying to get to sleep, so they were irritated that there was big peaks in the audio. But that was intentional because I would drop in something to be like, haha, you know, like a fun little flair, like a little gag or a joke, and they're like, no, I can't get to sleep then. And I was like,
that was a friend of mine. That was Ronan.
Yeah,
and he
we are naming names.
And he like was going to sleep listening to me, like his friend. It was really weird.
Okay, that's weird.
Sorry. Before you joined, Uma, there were people who said that about Corner Späti, and I did find it the most perverse shit in the world. No, can't.
Why would you do that?
I don't
as well.
know,
like listening to politics / humorous podcast while you're going to sleep. What do you want to dream about? Like, that is so weird. Hell no! What the fuck? You do it.
Hello.
And Nick just randomly starts yelling into the mic.
Or you just list off like recipes.
I didn't really see the appeal of it, but I started listening to Your Kickstarter Sucks while I was going to sleep, and then I suddenly was like, it does feel like you're at a house party and a bunch of people are having a conversation and you're just slowly falling asleep on the floor under a pile of coats or something. That's the appeal of it to me, just taking me back.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, because they do just talk about going to the shop. And
they literally have jingles about going to the shop, you know. But yeah, that's American podcasts. We're trying to talk about real shit. Which I don't know. I'm not guiding. I'm just trying to say, like, whatever.
Oh, in Ireland, we have a bottle return now.
Okay.
Like Germany, we have bottle returns.
Bovril?
Bottle return. Oh, you get a bottle in the shop, you drink it, and you put it in the machine. Gives you money back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fashion plant. Yeah, whatever it's called.
There are people that are like complaining about it as well in Ireland.
Well, none of the machines work.
Oh.
And it's very unclear about what bottles you can put in, what ones you can't. So it's been out here for like 2 months, and something like 40 million euro has gone unclaimed.
Yeah. Also, I didn't realize that they were actually adding the price, adding a little supplemental charge onto the cans, so that I was like, all right, well, you know, you put in the can and you get some money back. Okay, cool. So yeah, you're going to have to pay 10 cent extra. Like, well, hang on, I didn't. You know, like, and then I was like, but then because I knew it was Ireland, I also knew that it was going to be carried out in the most half-assed way possible. Yeah. Whereby, like I don't know how it works in Germany, but do they have like the machines in a shop? Like one of them was inside a Tesco behind the barrier. So what ends up happening is you have to go in past the security barrier carrying all your stuff, go to the end of the aisle that has the cat litter, so just like well into the shop, and then be putting in the stuff, and then the thing goes, I don't recognize the barcode, so I'm not giving you anything. And then you get like a receipt to bring to somewhere else or to claim off the nap.
Here it depends on the shop. Like smaller supermarkets, it's what you say, it's inside. You have to go through with the massive bag of bottles, and it's just very awkward. But the bigger supermarkets, they usually have it outside, so people, and there's like 4 machines. It's bigger as well.
The shop, but it's like before you go.
But it's before, exactly, before the security and everything. It's just like
where the trolleys would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not there. No, inside the actual shop.
Yeah.
Like you have to
give me the
behind...
money first. Do you know what I mean? When I buy it, give me the money. And then when I bring the bottle back,
no, you see,
I'll give you the money back.
Like Germany with its green policies. I remember when Lidl first came to Ireland, and everyone was kind of like in awe of the whole like bring your own bag stuff. Because we hadn't done that yet. Yeah, right. But Germany has always like the German green policies have always been like put it on to individuals. No like structural dealing of this. Everyone is kind of like, you bring your own bags, you bring back your own bottles, you sort your own rubbish. Volkswagen's allowed to do whatever the fuck it wants. Yeah. So shit like that.
Yeah, German Volkswagen, they like falsified their results of their test, didn't they?
They definitely killed someone. There was that whistleblower who ended up dead in Wolfsburg, the company town of Volkswagen, and he'd been one of the people who'd come forward about the admissions scandal. And
they killed him.
It was like he was found dead in his car, and the police declared he shot himself twice in the head, kind of shit.
Like the boy.
Committed suicide by cutting himself into small pieces and stuffing himself in a suitcase, kind of shit. Mental health is so important. But like that kind of shit happens, because this is big car country. I don't. I'm used to the fan stuff now. It's fine.
I don't. Have you seen my kitchen?
You just got like a giant pile
full of fucking bottles. I just always forget that you can get money.
One thing that happens in Ireland that will definitely stop me from doing the fan stuff would be it's so normal here to be like a guy in your young 30s and have like one of those granny bags, the like wheelie suitcases for shopping. Yeah. No, I feel like I'd get attacked in Ireland for having one of those. So,
yeah. Do women, like older women, use prams to bring bottles to the bank?
I'm going to turn to Uma.
As the woman in the podcast.
Yes.
I've never seen that. No, I've seen what you say, like the wheelie thingies.
Yeah, the granny bags, yeah.
And then some people just straight up steal like the carts from a supermarket.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then they just fill that up and they just bring it back. Yeah. I have seen that quite like old people. Just like, what are you doing?
I'm not gonna lie, I have stolen trolleys to like bring my daughter places.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, she'll be like,
that's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. She gets very excited when she sees an abandoned trolley.
But if it's abandoned, you're not stealing it though.
Yeah, I don't know.
You want to look badass and you're not.
I'm trying to steal trolley stealing like valor. Yeah.
No, here it's like you'll have someone and they had a baby like 20 years ago, but they have the pram.
Yeah.
And they like put the shopping in the pram. Sort of eerie.
Once I found out how much prams actually cost, then I was
you'd want to be keeping on to it.
Yeah, it'd be like, if you don't have any kids and it's just collecting dust, I have some things that could be carrying around.
What do you
be making money for me by bringing cans to the bottle bank or whatever.
We still have my pram. You're asking. Yeah.
No, I mean, not your pram, your child's pram.
My child's pram. Yeah. Well, I own it. But yeah, no, it costs too much. I'm not
How much does that set you back now?
Shit, that was $2,000. Yeah.
Are you fucking
Fuck off.
Yeah, that was $2,000. Yeah.
That's like dry heaving over here. That's disgusting.
I had to go to a test room and stuff where they had like emulated Berlin streets in the room, so they had like.
I know the shop. Yeah.
It was great. I was like, oh, this is how regular guys feel about cars. I was just like wheeling.
$2,000. That is insanity.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I had to find.
What are the wheels like? Are they like caterpillar tread and stuff?
Yeah, it's all terrain. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That like actually made me gasp.
Got a backup support. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, the government gives me $250 a month for having a kid, so like I'm not going to complain too much.
Where's those noises?
I don't know what these noises are.
Yeah.
Discord's making. It's making extra noises.
That's child benefit. Is that what you're saying? 250.
Yeah, 250, and then it increases exponentially for every additional kid you have. Germany is very excited when you are straight and white and you're having kids.
I wonder where they got that from.
Yeah.
There was actually a Fine Gael politician here. Or were you about to say it, James?
No, I
said,
said
yeah, well, that would actually be incentivizing people to have sex if they did a...
Yeah, child benefit is a reward for having sex. Yeah. And he'd never had sex, so...
Yeah.
I was going to say, my dad used to run a pub.
Yeah.
And when child allowance came out, he'd hire a band for the pub because everyone would just be spending on drink.
Really?
Yeah. In a good way, though. You know, in a funny way.
There was a David O'Doherty bit where he talks about how he lived at the end of a laneway where a kid was hit by a car and they were trying to build a speed bump.
Oh, yeah.
And every single night, the people who lived on the lane would come out and take the bricks and turn it into barbecue pits. But he said that trying to explain this to his German friend, it was like, but the kid, and it's like, but what about the barbecue pit?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is what...
But that's changed. It's no longer. There was this construction going on near me, and it was a load of rubble, like old stone and stuff. A friend of mine tried to nick a big rock, and it was like in a. It was in
I feel like I just immediately know who this person is.
And but then it's like alarm came on in the square, and it was like, "Do not steal the rock," you know.
You know,
just like
so it's changed.
For a recording, do not steal.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some guy in a tower somewhere keeping an eye. So it's different Ireland now, you know.
Look what they've taken from us, honestly.
All right, well, I can't have a episode properly.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me just turn on the overhead light because it's too dark in here.
That's fair.
Can you check if it's recording?
Yeah, it's all happening.
Okay, cool.
Just move that over. I shouldn't have done that.
Anyway, cool. Let's do it.
What are you doing?
I'm doing something, and it won't let me do that. This is what it's telling me. So I'm going to go back over here.
Just
stop fiddling with things.
Yeah, please.
I'm fiddling with it again.
No, stop. Oh, you're so annoying.
I'm going to compromise this whole episode because I want to fiddle with things. All right. Hey, welcome to your weekly corner Späti. It is me, Kieran, and I'm joined by Uma.
Hello.
And today we are joined by podcast Celtic Ligers, Gareth and James. How are you guys doing?
Hi, not too bad.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Was that imposing? Was the podcast voice?
No, it was just once again like I've never been on another podcast, so when somebody said the name of it back to me, I was suddenly like, "Holy God!" You know?
Yeah.
This shit just got real. You know?
Hit the road here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
James said in the past because the name of our podcast comes from the Celtic tiger, which was a phrase coined by economist David McWilliams. And then I think somebody was talking to you. You said somebody was talking to you, James, and they were like, David McWilliams, like your podcast. I'm like, what? And I was like, it was just like, it just becomes so abstract as a title that then when somebody repeats it back to you, then you're suddenly like, oh my fucking, these people think of me like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
set up an LLC or something.
Everything to do with podcasting is very relatable to the whole like Lenny in his apartment. Don't tell people how I live. Kind of. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. We can see each other's faces, but you, the listener, never will. So yeah,
thank fuck.
We will never pivot to video. I don't care how much pressure there is.
Yeah, I don't understand the video podcast thing.
Not at all.
It's massive. It's doing it. It sucks.
So we listened to one called Your Kickstarter Sucks, and
my God.
seeing those two is very upset.
Yeah.
Very depressing individuals.
Oh, I love them, and only because if they ever heard this, then I was like, please come on the show. Please let me on your show. I just, but no, when you see them, you're just like, it is like, they look like Pokemon trainers who grew up, you know what I mean? Like they've got like the cap and then these like, somehow I was like, how do you get like, those translucent plastic kids frames, but for adults on your glasses, and cartoons on their t-shirts and
Well, they also look like Irish. They're like of Irish stock. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We did get everywhere. All right, so people listening at home might be able to guess why we have invited more Irish people onto this podcast. It's not just Uma, but we've also got because obviously there's been some news and we're going to deal with that. But first, we do have to deal with some other shit that we should mention because if we don't, it'll be fucking weird. This has been fucking news all over Twitter and shit, but we have to commit it to recording. Jüdische Stimme, a Jewish Voice for Peace, has had their bank account closed by their bank, and the bank is now demanding all of their membership's names and addresses.
Which is super legal, I'm sure.
Yeah. In a fun, what you might call a classic German move, that we can... It's bad. It's real fucking bad. Yeah. Has that made it over to you guys at all?
Well, this is the first time. I mean, I'd heard of it. I'd seen something on Twitter, but I didn't kind of appreciate the significance of it. So it's happened today, has it?
Like yesterday?
As of recording, or has it happened over...
Yeah.
Yesterday as of recording.
No, well then I'm shamefully unaware of it.
No, that's
there's some scary stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Germany really hates Palestinians. It really does. So it's not back.
Absolutely do. They've... God, I really can't stand it. I've never missed Ireland more than... on this particular issue at this particular moment in Germany. Yeah. Like, I know it's not perfect, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They're making me miss Spain.
Yeah.
How dare they make me miss Spain?
It's wild that, like, because we're here and there was the special rapporteur for the UN, and she came out. Do you know what her name? What's her name again?
She's Italian.
Do you remember?
That's can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame on us.
Shame on us.
Yeah, well, she is really cool. I was like there was a thing that they used during like the Corbyn years where it's like tropes. You're using tropes. And just late last year, somebody was like, when you say that they're killing all these people, is that not like a trope? And he's like, what are you talking about? She's just like pushing back against him. And so she's taken that energy now and she's gone like, yeah, Ireland says a lot of stuff, but it doesn't do anything. And we're all like here, like, yeah, and getting really amped up and excited about it.
Francesca Albanese.
Francesca Albanese, yeah.
Brilliant. But yeah, like just to hear like, no, just that like here sometimes you think like, yeah, it's insufficient. The media is just not reporting on it. They're saying Hamas run health ministry and you're getting kind of aggro at the Irish media. Yeah. And then you hear like, we cut off their bank accounts. You're like, oh, right. I have completely like, it is so much worse in so many other parts of the world at the moment for, action against Palestinian solidarity.
Like there's that band Lancome, the folk band. And I feel like there's always some weirdness around bands in Ireland when they start talking about politics, but then they went over to Germany and they had their gigs cancelled, I think.
Yeah, they did.
No, because
it's been really bad here.
It's been pretty bad.
Really, really bad. I mean, at first, you could literally get sent to prison for waving a Palestinian flag. And they actually criminalized it a couple years ago. I remember, it's not a new thing. It's always been so anti-Palestinian, so hostile for anybody who is like an ally of the Palestinian cause.
So it started with this thing where the Bundestag made like a non-binding resolution that like BDS was illegal. Basically, supporting BDS would be illegal. However, every like lawyer who's looked at this has been like, this is woefully unconstitutional. But they're like, but it's non-binding. So you have this like weird loophole at the moment where like, employers will defer to it and stuff, but like it will never become more concrete law because like it's unconstitutional. And there's been a couple of things like where for a while you couldn't say from the river to the sea. And like when you go to protests, the organizers still advise against it.
I've seen people get arrested, like too, in pro-Palestine demos for screaming that, for yelling that.
Yeah, but like
Jesus Christ,
it's gotten to the point now where there has been a ruling, I think, in a court in like Cologne and stuff, being like you can't arrest people for this phrase. It's fucking stupid. Stop it.
Yeah.
But they're really playing with this kind of like legal gray area at the moment. That really sucks. And
did you see that clip of talking about Francesca Albanese? I think she had like a Q&A yesterday at the UN, and this obviously German journalist was basically
I did see that. That was great.
Can you prove that Israel is committing genocide? Where have they written that they're like, where's the order to commit genocide? And she just stared at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. She goes, do you think in Rwanda they just like wrote, I want to commit genocide?
Yeah.
Or like, she was just like, what are you on about?
German.
I love my favorite.
Like German journalists looking at Rwanda.
Sorry,
they're just trying to cut down some trees. I don't know what you're talking about here.
Yeah. I like my favorite thing about when she said that she had a word count, so she was limited. And she was like, I could write an encyclopedia of the stuff that they're doing. She's like, she's got a great.
It is kind of amazing how many like media facades get destroyed by just like one person who just kind of goes like, no, it's stupid. Because like that's unfortunately what like Pedro Sanchez is a lot of the time when like he was confronted with that not related to Palestine, but like the Eurovision song from Spain this year, which is about like, don't call women sluts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, basically. And like the anti-feminists in Spain got on that and they're just like, what do you think about this song? And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a fun song. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Or like Mick Lynch. Do you remember when the RMT strikes? I think I can't remember if it was late 2022 or in 2023. But anyway, there's a bit where Kay Burley from Sky News is like, can you say that it's going to get violent? And then he just like turns around and is like, what are you talking about? Like just pointing is like, do you see any violence here? Well, all right, move on. Just that kind of like...
just immediately dismissing. Yeah, it's great when it happens, but it's unfortunately rare. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's our job.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
And that's why we're allowed on television. I have something more fun to talk about if we don't want to. Yeah, because it's upsetting.
Jesus.
Italy's Foreign Press Association has bought and moved into Berlusconi's old Rome apartment, and they're finding some shit. Classic Berlusconi stuff, which is lots of naked women paintings. Sure. But the best one, if anyone hasn't seen the clip, is the secret fucking staircase they found behind the fake wall. Have you guys seen this?
I think I thought it was a safe or something, wasn't it? Or am I getting them mixed up with something else?
No, it's literally like a corridor, like a hallway to somewhere else for guests to escape.
Where does it go?
Where does it go is a great question. I think it just goes back out onto the street, but like in a different... in like maybe...
I literally thought you might have went to hell or somewhere. To the center of the earth.
Berlusconi's still actually squatting in his old apartment. Yeah, he lives in there.
I like the way he looks like PS2 graphics, Berlusconi. You never see him these days.
Yeah. I mean,
he's really like angular. What?
Well, he's dead.
He's
but
dead.
Before he died, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because he had like.
Berlusconi dead.
Yeah.
That's how checked out I am with this shit, honestly.
I shouldn't be making fun of him. I'm sorry.
No, it was
my
the
favorite one was.
It was the funniest thing when he died.
It was the greatest
Oh my god,
day.
we had such a party
It
here
was so good.
at Corner Späti HQ.
No, it's wrong. It's wrong of me to make fun of the dead. I shouldn't.
Sure, he did die.
What did he die of?
I actually checked it on Wikipedia there. He did die, actually. Sorry, James.
I think
What did he die of?
died
What-
of old
what-
age, no? Or did he
Oh.
have cancer?
Died laughing. He died laughing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Suicide. Just had enough.
Enough.
I think the
He was sick of something, cancer.
well, like he'd had the reason he looked like PlayStation 2 graphics, to James's point, was that he had like he'd become like the $6 million man. He had like the robot hip. He'd had like a million, like his entire skin was. He was a real doll. They had just like turned him into a real doll.
Ew.
And he was.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's money well spent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
He
love
was
that
the
when
original guy. You know, who's your man who wants to live forever? He wants to be like the
Yeah,
I'm going to say all of us, but the guy who's like, I'm 18, like my son. You know that
yeah.
guy?
Oh,
I'm getting blood transfusions from my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that gets blood
The
transfusions.
blood guy. Yeah.
The American guy who is basically like a non-binary, like person.
Non-binary robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
robots
Berlusconi
need
is
to be
like
binary, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, actually.
That's just a joke for your listeners. It's okay.
That's just a joke for your scientific listeners.
Yeah, the listeners who know about computers and shit, you know, just like me.
Sophisticated.
But Berlusconi was like the original one of them.
The million, yeah. I already said that, $1 million man. There was the other one, my
he was
favorite.
like and he was non-binary.
Yeah, just like. No, I was just gonna say my favorite bit was when like Berlusconi, somebody threw a little statuette at him and they busted up the bottom of his mouth.
Yep.
And he was still smiling and waving at people, and his teeth were all broken, and there's blood like poured out. I was like, ugh.
Then he came back the next day and he had diamond teeth.
It was some bullshit kitsch from like a tourist trap in Rome kind of thing that was like thrown at him. So it was like a tiny statue of like the Colosseum or the Pope or some shit. Yeah.
Why would you? I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
What a name though, because I imagine there was crowds and stuff, and the guy was just like
Yeah, no, he was
fucking
surrounded.
head.
Yeah.
Sniper.
Yeah, it's like you know the guy who threw the shoes at Bush, and
Yeah,
you're just like, couldn't one of them have hit? And then Bush's
that guy
stupid
sucked.
face when he's just like, he manages to duck both of them. He's like, this is like the most fun I've had in years, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a slick move by Bush. You hate to give it to him. He really dodged those shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the
What was the name of Berlusconi's parties again?
The bunga bunga.
Yeah.
Go Italy.
Still waiting on my invite. No,
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. James is waiting for an invite to the party, but then it was like, not a political party, the sex parties.
Bunga
Yeah.
parties.
Oh,
yeah.
He had both type of parties, to be fair. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
funny.
So who's in charge of Italy now? It's not Berlusconi.
catching you up with the last 2 years of Italian politics, James.
Yeah. Who owns the staircase now?
Italy's Foreign Press Association.
Yeah, the Foreign Press Association owns it now. Some journalists have made it their
Okay.
office.
I think it'd be cool if, you know those cave exploring videos?
Yeah,
You know those?
yeah.
And you know, there's the one where the guy's like trapped between like. For some reason, I don't know why you do this. He goes into this like narrow crevice.
Yeah, he 27
That's like-
hours himself, 27 days himself.
Yeah, it's like 2 miles underground, and he's just like, "Oh, I'll just squeeze through here."
That's what
It'd be cool. The press should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Staircase goes the other side of that crevasse.
It's actually crazy you bring that up. That's how Berlusconi died.
Yeah.
All right. With all of that, we have to get to the main topic at some point, and it might as well be now. So, Leo Varadkar resigned. Taoiseach of Ireland. Okay, going forward, for people who are not Irish, we are probably going to say the word Taoiseach a lot. It means Prime Minister. It's fine. You can get used to it.
It actually means like chief, high chief or something.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Ew.
It came from when like all the European countries wanted cool names for their leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like with Taoiseach where he's like, it's like a chief, which implies that like in Ireland it's like the only way you can become the new Taoiseach is trial by combat. And then Leo Varadkar having to like fight probably me. I'd try and be Taoiseach just so I could kill him,
I feel like Simon Harris would go feral in one of those.
Yeah, there's a
if he had to actually fight Leo Varadkar, oh my god, that would be so funny.
Yeah, he'd go Viet Cong. He'd be like, having like a spiked pit with shit on it. Did you ever read about that?
Yeah, it'd be Leo versus Michal just like going at it, and then suddenly from underneath the ground there's just like a hole that Simon Harris has been opportunistically waiting inside.
Yeah.
You were saying like going feral. He'd go ferret because he's a big rodent.
There you go.
Well, they are feral.
Ferrets are rodents.
But they're feral as well.
Yeah, they're also feral, but I think we're getting in the weeds here.
It's interesting as well because the Irish chieftains were elected.
Okay.
Not a lot of people realize that.
I just want to be like, I love that. Like, I'm just anticipating James having like a bit of trivia, and then he just plants it out there, and there's like, okay, expand on that. Just like,
yeah, I will not be doing that. I will not be expanding on anything. So Varadkar was like our Macron for the European listeners out there.
They certainly tried. Well, okay. I do remember the like post-Brexit, we need the liberal saviors moment where it was like, I think everyone will remember that's where like Macron got a lot of international media attention as well as Trudeau in Canada. And they tried for a bit.
They all had a thing.
Macron
had an old wife. And Trudeau had a...
You're going to tell me what Leo's...
A rich dad.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say.
That he's gay?
Go on.
I'm really trying to think of something else to say now.
What sucks?
Well, I think in typical Irish fashion, he was just trying to copy the other two.
Yeah. Particularly Trudeau, because we were...
That was a good save, wasn't it, Gareth?
What?
That was a good save, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the thing, I think Trudeau had the socks, wasn't it? He had like colored socks at one point.
I thought Varadkar also had the socks.
Well, Leo put on the socks because Trudeau had the socks. Yeah. That's why he was doing it when he met.
That is
so there's a great picture. You look up Trudeau and he's come. Did we go there or did he come here?
God, I don't know.
They met anyway.
Both of them, the meeting of the minds.
Yeah. And there's a picture and it's like Varadkar pulling up like the cuffs of his trousers to show that he's wearing Canadian flag socks.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like, I'm just like this guy.
Why did they go jogging together? What is this?
Yeah.
Roman. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Oh, Look. Oh, yeah, no. A podium does not lend itself to showing off your socks.
And why
it really doesn't.
He's like loving it. Ugh.
Oh, Trudeau's having a great
He's
time.
a weirdo as well.
There's only one time he's been happy.
You're right.
Blackface.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Trudeau's a no one. Do you know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck about Trudeau?
Canadians, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Them up there.
I think about the thing about it, like the socks really do define Varadkar. I mean, I don't know how much to get into it, but like, when he did that, first of all, copying, as James said, very important, very Irish. But the other thing is that Varadkar was somebody who clearly enjoyed optics. He loved the idea. It was like when he was putting on the socks, he wasn't going like, he was going, yes, he was doing both of these actually. He was doing, look at me, I'm like you, but also he was going, well played, sir. Those socks, and just doing a little, golf.
It was like Batman putting on the mask, like him putting on the socks.
But yeah, that was like kind of at the start of his tenure. Was that
2017.
Yeah, and then that was kind of around the time where he was doing all the kind of cutesy, BuzzFeedy, fun stuff, where it'd be like, I don't know, welfare chief.
So he hired he hired a load of what do you call them?
Comms guys or
comms
PR?
Guys. They were called the Department of Spin, the Department of Government Communications.
What was that in 2017 or was that later?
That was when he was elected, yeah.
Okay.
Or when he became Taoiseach. And it was like, how much was it? Like 30 million a year, something like that.
Something mad, yeah.
Jeez.
And it was just like, go on Instagram Reels and cook scrambled eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, they kind of went into overdrive during COVID, where they're like, just come back from a lovely jog, or like Richard Bruton and his abs, or like, hey, we're making sourdough bread. All that kind of cutesy stuff that I don't know. People can write little articles about and be like, oh, you'd miss them when they're gone, wouldn't you? There
was a great one, and it was like, just finished meal prepping for the month or something like that.
Yeah,
that was this,
and it was like the most anonymous looking. It was like the bottom of Berlusconi's crypt. Like it was like whatever was in the box at the end of that staircase was in Varadkar's fridge.
Yeah.
And he was posting about it. He was just like, can't wait to get stuck into this like shriveled bit of anonymous meat on Friday.
It just looked all like boiled and sad and horrible, and there was like 100 Tupperwares of that, and everyone was dragging it on Twitter. Like, what the fuck is this?
Like meal prep.
It was like cribs, in cribs where like they open the fridge and there's like 100 of the bottles of Perrier or whatever. It was like, this is my crib.
They should make every Taoiseach do an episode of Cribs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just
do they not get like I guess no, that's the president, because in Spain the prime minister gets like a house.
Does Taoiseach have a house? President gets a house.
Yeah, the president has like a massive house.
They get a townhouse, but I don't know where it is.
Access to state kind of houses. I remember that there was one during COVID. There was something called, I think I could be wrong about the name of this. It's Farmley House. Does that make sense to anybody?
That sounds familiar.
But there was a house anyway in, what's the name of the park? The biggest park in Dublin. Why am I blanking on this?
Phoenix.
Yes. There was a house in the Phoenix Park, and basically there was allegedly the Taoiseach or Leo Varadkar at that time threw like a bunch of parties there because there was a bunch of noise complaints. So we had our own version of Partygate, but like nobody was particularly interested in reporting about it or talking about it. Sure. So it just became a tweet that you see in replies from like angry far right headbangers. But it was like, but they were right because I remember reading that, Anyway.
All right, so let's start. We have started at the beginning of Leo, basically, like beginning of him being a Taoiseach, which is him kind of somewhat unsuccessfully, but like attempting to be lumped in with the like liberal saviors post-Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. But I want to talk a little bit about like before that, because his rising star happened with is it fair to say it happened with the same-sex marriage referendum?
Yeah, I'd say, personally.
That's when he came out, right?
Yeah.
Publicly?
Yeah. And that kind of, I think, turned him into a bit more of a household name. Whereas I feel like, Yeah. I'm not sure everyone...
And the coming out thing was weird.
Yeah.
Because the narrative around it these days is like, oh, the media were going to leak, They're going to like leak that he was gay. And that's why he was forced to come out.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the Irish media have a policy never to report on the private lives of politicians in Ireland.
Yeah. That seems like...
Mr. Mary Lou.
Yeah.
But it does seem like a level of
head of Sinn Féin for. Yeah.
It seems like a level of muckraking I have never actually seen from the Irish press. Like I would
expect it from the English press or the American one.
But I think that would have been like if that happened, that probably would have even been better for him. Like if like he was like publicly outed by like the gutter press, I think he would have become like an infinitely more sympathetic character.
Yeah, it would be like
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean it's possible. I don't know where it's hard to remember, but it could be a case that they focus grouped and tested it. He was always very like uncomfortable about revealing that much about himself, because if you see clips before 2015, it's the usual stuff where he's in the hall going, a child deserves a mother and a father. He believes that there's the right to life. There's the famous,
extremely Catholic.
Yeah, trying to be very like But then 2015, so either somebody was going to out him,
which would be unprecedented.
Yeah. Or he saw like it as a kind of strategic thing. Both are possibilities, I would say. But he was very uncomfortable at the thought of...
Because it wasn't because he wanted to get married. He's not married, even now. He's been with his partner for 7 years.
Do you know that? Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's been Taoiseach, he's been with his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least 7 years.
Not married. Minimum.
Even when there was something, it was an interview that I saw recently from back in 2015 where he was basically talking about gay marriage, but he even made pains to say in that if I ever get married, which isn't on the cards, it's not like he was even like doing cover at that point, and I was like,
I know you feel really sorry for your man Matt, because the other thing is that his partner's a doctor, so like Varadkar's famous for I don't know if he's famous for it, but he is responsible for gutting a lot of the Irish Health Service. Well, like his party is. And then his poor boyfriend has to go to work the next day and be like, yeah, that's my boyfriend. He just fucked us all over again. Yeah.
Well, I still think that most doctors would be like, yeah, no, he's right to do so. I mean, pay me, but those other people can go and fucking split,
But that is when he became... well known.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was shocking. People were shocked when he came out in 2015.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
I just remember being like, kind of like, interesting. And then I remember
two young liberal men, you know what I mean?
But I was talking to like a friend at the time, but there was this feeling then where it's like, I had a very like, boring brain where I would be like, this is great. If somebody came out and was like, anything, POC or LGBTQ plus, I was like, we need more of those voices in there. We need to get, and it's true. But what I'm saying is like, Rishi Sunak is POC. It doesn't mean, like all these labels have sort of like worn off. But at that time, I was fully prepared to be like, it doesn't matter. All the, whatever their politics, difference is good. So we need this person. But even I remember being like looking at Varadkar and just being like, there's something about this guy, the energy is all wrong, Thatcher kept getting evoked quite a lot. People would bring up like Margaret Thatcher in like, even without knowing a single thing about his politics, there was just something on site where you're just like, this guy is not one of us, he's not a good guy.
There was like 2 or 3 things that kind of solidified that, which was one, he had the track record of being against gay marriage and gay adoption, whereas I feel like the kind of like what you would expect from like a gay person in a Conservative Party still in the closet would have been a bit more like, oh, I don't know about that, or like, because there were Fine Gael members who were a little softer on that issue. Like Fine Gael,
no, he was number one hater.
Yeah, he was a bit. And then the other thing being like the benefit cheats us all is happening at the same time. So like, this is 2015 post Euro crisis, post fucking 2008 financial. Like no one wants to hear this, Leo. This is not like, we're all benefit cheats to some extent. Let us get away with it. This like it sucked.
No.
Yeah. So
for some reason, I always had the dates of that mixed up. I always thought that was something he did like when he was Taoiseach. I didn't realize, but then it was when he was Minister for Social Protection or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, like that was so evil, and they spent so much money on it, and it was like it wasn't even just like this anonymous government project. Like he was in all the posters.
He was the face.
It was like him posting things. Welfare cheat us all, and like they didn't catch anybody. Was the other thing?
No.
Well, it was negligible.
Yeah. Because like it is in every country. Like in the UK, they bang on about it as well, and it's just like, it's like 16 people for every 1,000 or something.
Yeah,
it's like stupid.
And Spain as well, but they target it especially to immigrants.
Oh, of course.
They say that immigrants are the only ones in the whole country that get
a country
payments.
with like 60 gajillion% youth unemployment, but it's the immigrants who are definitely getting welfare fraud. Yeah. Anyway.
In Ireland it'd be the same. But it's mad because I know loads of people who do it. It's mad they didn't catch any of them.
This is the angle we attacked Leo for. He wasn't even good, Leo. We all got away with it.
Yeah.
It is mad, actually, how bad he is at stuff. You know, like it's just like, wow, that's awful that you think that, but then also you're incredibly the fact that you couldn't find. Anyway, just repeating what James said. Sorry.
Yeah,
right.
Do it anyway.
But like, there isn't an ineptitude because the legacy of Leo Varadkar all feels very kind of like shit he kind of started, namely with like the spin and the PR stuff. Because like the way I think of it is he definitely feels like the Taoiseach that brought like culture war bullshit to Ireland. Like the whole like siding with the RIC or like the RIC comments in particular, when it was just like, you're really just like throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what culture war shit can stick.
Yeah.
The successful version of that was constantly banging on about like the IRA to try and get like every on the fence Fianna Fáil voter to vote for them in the face of Sinn Féin.
Did that work though? Do you know? Because it doesn't seem like like I think the funny thing about it is him harping on about that. Like as I was growing up, just IRA, that's like shuts down everything. You know, Sinn Féin appear, you'd be like IRA, Jerry Adams, listen to Nordy fuck. You know, I mean, you know, it was just something that could be. But then, it's a real throwback to mention this as well. But at the same time that all that stuff was happening, with Leo out there trying to kind of stoke up culture war stuff, Irish Simpsons fans was like a very popular Facebook page where they would make memes about. Yeah. But I remember that was also like the beginning of like they would use like up the Ra stuff and come out you black and tans, and there would be this kind of again softening of that type of stuff, and also Brexit. I mean, we can't, you know, once whatever was unleashed from Brexit, where it's just like, well, maybe they had a point. Do you know what I mean?
But he also like when you're talking about culture war stuff, he would call Sinn Féin Trumpian. That was a big movie.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Wait,
and there was that, like Trump.
Yeah.
And like anything they did.
Oh, like
in any sense.
Don't need to say.
Yeah, he would never explain anything.
Like it'll be like they're too cross or they're too. Like if he thought that they had lied, he'd be like, "You're spreading."
I think
full. What's the phrase?
Fake news. Or whatever yeah. But the one that I remember the earliest, because it was just after the 2020 election, before we went into like lockdown and stuff, was like after the success of Sinn Féin in that election, they start holding these like public rallies, and like he called those like Trumpian. Like the entirety of Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil were like, you're cheating at politics, and everyone who's like studied politics historically was like, actually no, they're just actually doing it again. That's like what a lot of politics can be, is rallies and talking to people. That was a very kind
of. I mean, like, how is that different to like an Ardèche or anything? That's the other thing. Ardèche would be like basically the party conventions and conferences. Sorry, you know,
there's a craft table at those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was like that was a real. I went to
it was a weirdly electric moment.
Yeah, because I went. So what happened is Sinn Féin. They were like, we're going to do like one of these rallies at Liberty Hall, which is the SIP2 building, and SIP2 is a big union in Ireland. And if you go in there and you're seeing anything, you'll see a big poster or big picture, a painting of James Connolly, which was famous Irish socialist, died in 1916. But I remember that the place was so full we couldn't get in. So then we were standing outside, and Pierce Doherty came out onto the steps and started like screaming at everybody, like, "We're gonna go! We're gonna to show the Greens what's for, and we're gonna." And everybody was real amped. And like I'd met somebody. I only kind of half knew this person, but I met them. I saw them at this thing, and we had to go for like a drink afterwards to like process it. And we're like, everything's going to change. Everything. This is so exciting. What's going to happen? Like they're going to take the fight right to them. And then, most left-wing projects around the world, Bernie Sanders comes to mind. It's just the shutters came down like with COVID, and then that was it. And like Varadkar had like led. Basically, he completely screwed up this election.
Yeah. They were led by Fine Gael. There was so the only two parties in Ireland to have to lead a government are Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, and then Sinn Féin were in the shouting distance, and like they did everything they could, Fine Gael, to ice out Sinn Féin. So like when COVID started, there was talk about starting a unity government.
Yeah,
where like all the parties would be involved. And Varadkar was like, we would do a unity government except for Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, he said that.
So like everyone would be invited except for Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because I think they were like the largest party. Were they in that election?
I don't remember.
It was like.
Well, they did well anyway.
They got the largest vote. Like the problem they had was they didn't field enough candidates.
Right.
But I think they were they were one away from Fianna Fáil, and it was really because they had the Count Carla or whatever, the speaker of the Dáil kind of figure was technically Fianna Fáil or something.
Oh yeah. And then they went into government. Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil went into government, which is like wild.
We got.
I mean, they had the confidence. Yeah.
It's like the Tories and Labour going into government. Like, it's just so mad.
Especially now. It would be exactly like that now, because there's absolutely no difference between the pair of them. So, like, there was always, like, it feels like those parties could very comfortably form a coalition, but the issue, of course, is that they need this shadow boxing opposition, this idea of, like, you need two parties, even if there's no difference between them, because otherwise then you don't have a democracy and you can't like isolate these other people, But anyway, that was, so that's something that's been pointed out, is that he's been quite disastrous for their electoral prospects. They really thought that this is kind of this new exciting leader who's going to come in and kind of capture the youth vote. And then of course he just governed in a way which ostracized everybody who was young. Anybody who wants to like own a house or, not that it's the only thing. I mean, I'm kind of post the idea of owning a house. Now I'd just like to not have to be throwing out so much money on rent every month. But the point is anyway that like he led a disastrous election then in 2020, and then it was all like, but we all felt like, well, this is it. Like he has to go, obviously, because that's traditionally what happens when you lead a disastrous election. You have to go, and then COVID happened, and it was like a reprieve. It was just he managed to make this image for himself as like a very. There was like some show.
Like he just stuck it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he just stuck it out. He just hung around for 5 months.
Yeah,
and then became Taoiseach again.
Yeah, and then the thing that they did where I don't know how he managed to weather it, but either way, like he became Taoiseach, and then he hasn't even made it the full run of the complicated arrangement that they have to split the role over the 5 years.
Yeah.
He didn't even make it the full run because he's just, the more people are exposed to him, they just don't like him. He just sucks.
Yeah. I mean, like to that cultural point, like, and why we even talked about Sinn Féin there to begin with is because like this whole thing of like constantly bringing up the IRA is deliberately missing why people are voting for Sinn Féin in like 2020 and beyond. Like they're voting for it because they're the largest party that's promising like things like rent caps and stuff like that. Because like it was like 2020 was the first election where like every Sinn Féin, the number one second choice for a Sinn Féin voter was people before profit, when historically it had always been Fianna Fáil, the Republican Party, as they like to call themselves or whatever. But the but like get into other kind of I want to go to like some Leo moments because like
yes.
He has moments. He like tries to have these social media moments because that's what happens when you're like a young person in a conservative party. They just hand you the like Instagram account or whatever the fuck. And then at the same time, as you rightfully said, Gareth, the more people saw him and heard from him, like the worse it was for him, like career wise. So I'm just kind of like, feel free to repeat yourselves from your episode on Leo because it was a great episode and I encourage everyone to go listen to it. But like Leo moments, I genuinely forgot a lot of them. I remember the meal prep one. We've talked about that one. I had completely forgot about the pancakes.
Oh yeah,
a lot of food ones. Yeah,
pancakes.
Oh, the pancakes. Is it the one that is like pancakes that were like rolled like so thin that they were translucent? Like breaking. Oh my god, what a weirdo.
Yeah.
It's like rolling paper. Like it's just so thin.
Yeah.
And it speaks to his mind. It's like that. Yeah. So there was the pancake he made on Pancake Tuesday. You know.
As a Lenten treat, I want to put that on the record. Just saying that was such a... Anyway.
And he made the world's thinnest, most like poorly made pancake you've ever seen. Like it's so thin that you can see the pattern of the plate beneath it. Do you know what I mean?
I really feel like that emphasizes a difference between the two types of Catholicism because I will often talk about this because like one half of Catholicism, Southern Europe, Latin America, that kind of shit has Mardi Gras where they go on the street and dance and throw beads everywhere, and our equivalent is the pathetically thin pancake that our fucking prime minister puts out or whatever the fuck. That's what we do on Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Actually, I never thought of that.
What do you call it? Hot?
Yeah, this is just sitting back and
cold.
Yeah, hot Catholics and cold Catholics.
Yeah,
it's us and the Poles, and then the hot Catholics are Spain, Italy. Are Portuguese Catholics? Yeah, they are. They're kind of.
They're on the verge.
They're depressing people, yeah.
What?
The synthesis is France. France has both types. France has the, like, we're going to be, like, business Catholics, and we're going to wear suits and all that. And then they have the, like, Eric Ciottis with their Italian last names being, like, red in the face, deport all the migrants, or I'm going to cheat on my wife.
But also Germany as well, because in the south of Germany, you do have Mardi Gras. Well, Carnival.
Yeah, Carnival, yeah.
Which is what we have in Spain as well.
Yeah.
And they dress up in very racist
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the one that happened in Cologne recently or something? With what's that one? The one with the
Carnival,
very anti-Palestinian floats.
Oh my god! Yeah.
It's whatever the vibe is in Germany at the time, and that's what the vibe is in Germany.
Yeah, more racist than usual.
It's there. It's just there.
It's usually
there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's it? We actually there was just about Leo moments. Obviously now we got a chance to mention the socks. That was one thing that I think we forgot to mention on the episode.
Didn't we just talk about?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, you have to be paying attention. What's the other one though? There was one or two that
pancake.
we didn't.
We're talking about the pancake.
No, but I'm trying. Okay. All right, fine. All right.
But that's what they. That's what they've given us to talk about.
No, but they're asking for other moments from Leo.
It's fine.
Bring the new Leo moments. I defer to you.
We can keep talking about the pancakes as long as you guys want, you know?
James has more pancake stuff.
What were we going to say, Gareth? Sorry.
I was just going to say that there was a cleanup of like some Leo moments that we did one or two in a more recent episode. The tweet. Okay, I've already forgotten the tweet. I think I've said this before, but I think I got long COVID or something because my brain has just collapsed. Oh, here we go. So Leo Varadkar tweeted this out. If it'll ever load. Oh my goodness. He retweeted somebody and he goes, yeah, if you were white, male, or even worse, middle class, Sinn Féin doesn't want you. So much for an Ireland of equals. So that's one of my. That's a moment that we forgot to credit to Enda for that.
Oh yeah.
But that's a Leo moment that needs to be on the record of just like once again just trying out some sort of culture war, race baiting sort of thing. It's like, can I do this? I was like, I mean, you can.
And it's
I wouldn't.
So mad for him to say that, like,
right?
Because he's half Indian. Do you know what I mean? And he's there like the white man has been punished. You know?
Yeah.
By me putting in charge of the country.
Yeah.
No.
So that was one moment we forgot to mention, and then there's fun ones, and then there's dark ones, which are pretty. There was one where he said like there was a homeless guy who was run over by like a bulldozer.
Oh
in
yeah.
his tent, and they were like getting rid of the tent, so they like. But anyway,
your man was asleep in the tent,
yeah.
And then instead of checking to see if there's anyone in it, they just drove over. They're just like, we'll just squash this, you know.
Life-changing injuries, like that's what happened. But basically, Varadkar's response was like, "Oh yeah, it's terrible." But he did turn down accommodation, so.
Yeah,
so that was a moment where you're just like,
they're piece of shit. Oh my god.
God damn it.
What are some fun? Let me see if I have that right. Bulldozer, Leo, homeless guy.
Oh my god, Jesus!
This is the search engine results that I. Yeah, it was. I have that right. Thank God. All right, because otherwise I feel really bad if I misrepresented that. But I needn't have worried if it sounds too evil and vindictive, then it's not. He probably said it. There was an observation made by Conor McCabe, who's a very good Irish writer as well. But he was just saying that because one of the things that people talk about with Leo's resignation speech is that like, oh, he was crying. He was like, his voice was cracking. He was and he was like, yeah, no, he's the first time you see any emotion where he's like, on the verge of tears is crying about something that's happening to him. Like that's the only reason that you would see something like that.
Deeply unempathetic person, which I guess leads me to a question I have for the both of you is like, why do you think now he's gone? Because the official explanation is personal and political reasons, and he's that means nothing.
He's married.
Yeah,
I personally think that they.
I'm getting married.
He's finally married.
Just going out there like, I gotta go, I'm getting married, and then like just loads of snaps from Vegas and stuff. You can totally imagine that.
Looks like we made
except
it.
Yeah. No, I think
like it is like that crusty thing. It's like, why now and not 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Because like, I don't think he's had a successful election. He lost 2 referendums the past.
Yeah.
What is that? Month? 2020
election in like his seat, wherever that is. He's like the worst performing sitting Taoiseach, I believe.
Yeah. But so no, I think my theory, I don't know about you, Gareth, but it's like normally what would happen is that so we had the 2 referendums, one about I'm not going to get into what they were, but his party got behind both of them, campaigned for a yes vote, and they both failed. And normally the Taoiseach would stand down after that.
Yeah.
But he wanted to go to meet Biden for St. Patrick's Day. So he just waited. He just was like, I'll do it next week after I go.
I don't even think it was. I honestly think his party turfed him out. That's my take on it. I
do think they waited till after St. Patrick's Day.
Oh yeah, no, because they were like, well, we just, we don't need the drama. Like, if we don't have somebody who can go over and meet him, there's going to be all this. It's just going to be too messy.
They also love it. Like it's like why they become Taoiseach. Go and meet.
To be fair to that comment, Biden would be very confused if no one came to meet him. Like he would be just like
he's confused anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you seen that video? And it's like during COVID, and Micheál Martin is like virtually meeting. He's virtually meeting Biden, and there's like a picture. It's like Biden in a chair and Micheál Martin on the TV. Yeah, and like. For Biden, it might as well be like RoboCop. Do you know what I mean? It's like
it's like the painting is talking to him. It's watching me as I move around the room. It's like, no, that's a TV. That's a person. Who are you?
I'm but like campaign trail when he says like, "Oh, people can be progressive, Jack. They voted for a robot over in Ireland."
But no, but it was really important that happened. But my theory about my evidence, my case that I put forward that the party outed him is that his speech is like, first of all, it's the most generic speech ever, but it also contains the sentence, "I'm not the best man for the job." And I was like, Varadkar would never ever write that in a million years. So like,
someone wrote that for him.
Yeah, and so I don't buy it. And then like he's like ad-libbing at certain bits. He's kind of throwing shade at. He's like, and there are people who might talk today. There's people who'll go on and they'll get. And you can see him getting stroppy. He's wrestling with it. He was laid out to the podium as well with it. I think it came as a shock to him personally, and but I think like he just got used to getting away with it, which is probably why he's so shocked. Like he thought like, I can weather this. And the Irish media was like, yeah, no, you can. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. But like somebody in Fine Gael was paying attention and was like, we need to get rid of this guy. Like he went, we did a referendum there and he went out on TV to be like a spokesperson for the referendum. And basically people had this worry with the referendum that it would be I'm just worried
it was called the Care Act, wasn't it? And it was like, basically it was supposed to be like we're trying to recontextualize how people care for each other. That was like the line we were given.
Yeah, remove archaic language.
And like Varadkar came out and he made it sound like a euthanasia program. Like we're gonna kill each and every one.
No, because like disability activists were like saying,
COVID, "We're going to kill them now."
Yeah, we'll get it now. Like, reload. But like there was like disability advocacy groups were like, we're worried that the language in this means that carers. Basically that like disabled people are going to be completely shafted. And then there was people who may be on the yes side who are like, well, no, that's not necessarily the case and we don't know. And then Varadkar came out and he goes like, I just don't think that, he basically just said it is. He just said like, I don't think it's the state's responsibility to take care of disabled people. And that's just me. Yeah. And then like, but I think most people would agree. And then it's like, well, actually, no, they don't. And so like, he's like, oh, okay, shrug, moving on. And then clearly somebody in Fine Gael was like, are we seriously going to have this guy out there who's just like a complete liability? Like everything he says, everybody hates. They hate him. There's a chance that we could just claw back something here if we just get a new person in.
Because we're going to have, coming up, we have our local elections coming up.
Yeah.
So I think there was a feeling that like, if Varadkar was the spokesperson of the party going into those, it wasn't going to go too well.
you've got local and EU, which happened at the same time in Ireland, and like, which is why I'm seeing more of that 90s kid Maria Walsh, fucking MEP from
oh yeah, she sucks.
She blocked me.
I don't know. Yeah, have you? Did you bring that up on the podcast already? But she did like an advert where she literally was like, I remember Beanie Babies. I remember Tamagotchis. And she's walking down the street trying to be like, look how young I am. And she's a former Miss Ireland or something, isn't she?
Rosa Tralee.
Yeah.
Rosa Tralee.
But then she gets elected to, she's an MVP and she votes to like stop rescue missions to help migrants.
Yeah, for migrants and let migrants drown. And
she's Vincent like, save the Tamagotchis. That is let the migrants drown.
Yeah, it is actually. There was like, but like Vincent Brown is like a political commentator who was very active and very aggressive in his day, and now he's kind of retired because he's failing health and whatnot. But basically, he's got a Twitter account, and maybe 3 times a year he'll log on and put a tweet. I know. It's
like he's dead. Like it's like he's speaking through a Ouija board because like he was so old when he disappeared from TV, and I was like, oh, he's dead. Like I didn't hear from him for a week. I was like, he's dead. Just 3 times a year a tweet comes out. And he's just like, fuck Maria Walsh, Yeah,
that's basically it. The first thing, he came out for like one tweet to just be like, I can't believe these sickos let, like, I don't know, this wasn't the way he phrased it, but it was the feeling of the tweet, which is that they let these people drown, and that's disgraceful and awful. And then Maria Walsh's like response was like, but they told me to do it. I just did what they said. And she's like, and like, it was just so pathetic. But anyway, she at the same thing where Simon Harris was announced as the new leader, she went up and made some sort of speech apparently about like how she I don't know, where she announced her candidacy. I don't know what the hell, but like she was up there saying something, and it was just like, I just feel like this is not going to happen. I don't think people are going to do this again, because it's more because of how pathetic she is rather than the horrible racist policies that she voted for, which is disappointing, but still,
Maria Walsh.
Anyway, sorry.
No, Uma's going to look it up for me because Maria blocked me on Twitter a long time ago.
No way.
Yeah, for mocking the 90s kid ad. That caused, like, we started this podcast last EU elections, and that ad did.
She's from the 90s? Sorry.
We're
I mean, that skincare routine is not really.
But she, that caused like Nick and Yulia to disassociate.
She looks so.
I think she was a teen in the 90s.
She's not a 90s person.
But she remembers the 90s. Only 90s kids will remember voting for.
Remember the 90s.
Anyway. You did bring up the magic word, though. The last thing I want to talk about, which is who has replaced Leo. I'm going to quote.
Yes.
Gareth, like this caused me to keel over at this like. This caused me to keel over as like the perfect description of Simon Harris as we've invented white Rishi Sunak. What can you tell us about Simon?
He's just a little pipsqueak is basically it. He's very
it's like he's trying to swagger Jack Leo Varadkar. You know what I mean? Badly.
In its own right.
Yeah.
So he started off in Labour, as far as I know.
No, he didn't. No.
And then Fianna Fáil. Didn't he go Fianna Fáil?
Ogre Fianna Fáil. He was in it when he was a kid, and but he's
which
the
tells
type
you what
of
you need to know.
Yeah,
like a child. If you're in a young person's political,
if you're in the youth wing of a political party, you're a sicko. And he certainly was a sicko, because you can see it in his eyes when because like what they kept putting up on the news is like he started in politics at a young age, and he was advocating for like disability, like for like something. It was something to do with autism, and it was just like, well, what has he done recently? Fuck all. But anyway, the point is you can just see it in his little like 15-year-old brain. It was like, I'm going to be president someday, the president of Ireland, and I don't mean like I don't mean Michael D as in our president. I mean that in his brain,
means like the West Wing.
Exactly. I'm going to be the Bartlett of Ireland.
But incredibly conservative as well. When he first came in, madly then somehow he pivoted to being like it was so mental because he was like the sexy poster boy for the abortion referendum.
He was.
Which is so messed up. Do you know what I mean?
It messed up on so many levels. Just the way when you finished that, like, because I was like, repeal, and then you're like the abortion referendum. Like, yeah, the sexiness of the abortion referendum.
It was so weird. And like he just came in at the last minute. Do you know what I mean? He was like, kept the head down when he realized it was going to pass. He was like, "Here I am. You're welcome." You know?
That is kind of a classic a thing with Irish referendums in general, which is like sometimes they'll only really ever be called when like the government knows it's going to be a slam dunk the way they want it to, and they'll attach themselves to it at opportunistic moments. Which is probably why like the last two referendums were kind of like so surprising to me, because it was like usually they only call them when they know it's going to go their way, right?
Yeah. I think, and like there'd been people campaigning for this for like 30 years, like women's groups. And for repeal, he just comes in at the end. He's like, "Thanks very much, thanks for all the work."
But he also, there's a kind of, it's very of that era as well. But he had this kind of like adorkable vibe for some people, where it's like, he's there was a thing during COVID where they would certain newscasters would be dubbed like the nation's boyfriend or something like that. But that's what it was back in repeal. It was like, he's kind of like my adorkable boyfriend, and he's got like he's got a little his social media, and and he says his little things, and he's a bit awkward, he's a bit clumsy, blah 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 blah. And then turns out then if you're like Minister for Health, especially like a Fine Gael Minister for Health, then you preside over some pretty dark shit, so he was Minister for Health, and then a bunch of scandals.
That's what it be like Minister for Death Penalty. Do you know what I mean? Minister for Death Panel. Sorry, go on.
No, it was just that like probably one of the defining ones is the cervical check scandal, where a bunch of carrying over from Mary Harney, who was Minister for Health under a coalition government in the early 2000s or something. My timeline on these is pretty bad, but ultimately it was this thing of like, how can we outsource as much of our health service as possible? So smear tests were like outsourced to some American company that ended up producing a bunch of false negatives for about, I'd say over 100 Irish women, maybe 200 Irish women, maybe more. I can't remember the exact number, but ultimately it came out under Simon Harris's watch that these women had been misdiagnosed as not having cancer, and now they're just like all going to start dying, which is what happened. And it was kind of, it was that there was that one. There was a children's hospital where the budget it's still being
It led to this really morbid standoff between like activists like Vicky Phelan who were dying, and the government was like, no woman's going to have to go through court to get this settlement, and they did. Like they had to fight until they died to get like justice. And it's worse in an Irish context, bad in any context, but like. Historically in Ireland, when dealing with the Catholic Church, they have this idea of like, when they're dealing with victims of abuse, it's called the 3 Ds. And it's deny, delay, death. And basically you just deny anything happened, delay settlement, and hope the person dies before they get the money. And it just felt like the government were doing the same thing.
Yeah. So there was basically a number of scandals which kind of, he could no longer be the cuddly fella anymore. And then I believe there was in late 2019. So in early 2019, there was a motion of no confidence against him over, I believe, how much the children's hospital was costing.
The most expensive hospital in the world or something.
Yeah. So there's like, during Brexit, I guess they wanted some sort of, I can't remember, but there was a thing called a confidence and supply agreement, which for reasons was not a coalition, where Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael agreed to kind of support one another. So until Brexit was done, you know?
Yeah. I remember the next election, they tried to pretend that they weren't like signing off on all the same laws as each other. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but what ended up happening then was that, like, you know, if you put forward a motion of no confidence in a Fine Gael minister who has like spectacularly failed at their brief, and then the Fianna Fáil then are like, well, I don't know how the confidence and supply worked. Was it that they were going to abstain, or they voted in favor of the government, or whatever? But either way, like, he passed the motion of no confidence vote. But then by the end of 2019, there was like a trolley crisis. And so in early 2020, opposition parties said that they were going to announce a motion of no confidence. And it was looking like he was definitely going to lose that one because the Fianna Fáilers couldn't be seen to support him after all these scandals. So Varadkar then called a snap election to try and, claw back some seats. But then these polls revealed that Sinn Féin might make gains. And then, the election there, we kind of alluded to what happened. But this basically, after that, Simon Harris was no longer Minister for Health. And then he became like, you know, he was Minister for Health for like these prime days of COVID, where everybody was like in their house going like, oh my God, I hope this is done before September, because, you know, I have like, you know, my birthday is in such and such, you know, there was like these very like, these thoughts at the start of the pandemic, like, well, this isn't going to last more than 3 months, surely, you know? Everyone gave a shit, but like, it was kind of new, and it was like, well, this is the new normal, and my cat's going to come onto my Zoom call, and we need to figure out how. And then by the end of COVID, everybody was just like dead behind the eyes and was just like, fuck, there's nothing cute about it anymore. There's nothing like, we're all pulling together. It's just like, you know, anyway, it was all awful. But the point is that at that moment in time, he suddenly resurrected the cuddly TikTok thing. I think that's when he started his TikTok account, was during COVID. And it's like, hey guys, just checking in. I've been out for my walk today, or whatever, you know, this stupid shit. And then they did this thing where they like quoted Mean Girls. That was something they did, like movie quotes. They you know what I mean? When they went up and they were like, you know, the night is darkest just before the dawn, and you know, we got to all stick together, and we all got to.
That was Varadkar now who was doing that.
Yeah, but it's all part of the same milieu, as I would say. You know, the milieu. This is the guy who can't say even any vaguely French word. Is milieu? That's French. That sounds French. Fuck it.
Seems French.
But anyway,
It is French.
Okay, it's French. We're getting confirmation. I'm hearing in my ear. It's French.
Okay. But that was all just to say that, like, then they formed this coalition, and then Simon Harris, then he became Minister for Higher Education. Yeah. Which is basically like, it felt like they're putting him out to pasture. This guy is sort of done.
Yeah, like, sort of, you know, fuck off now, please.
Yeah, thank you, bye. And like, there's like, it's also like the freaking Sith Lords, you know, whereby, I don't know why I said that, but the point I'm getting at is that,
how is it like that?
No, they're just saying, you know, the way the Sith Lords, there's like one master and one apprentice, okay? And then like the master like kills the apprentice, and if they don't, the apprentice kills the master, and if they don't, then they get killed, okay? So Simon Harris was like, yes. So Simon Harris is like the obvious successor to Varadkar, the whole Varadkar thing. They were like thick as thieves, but then
they appeared on each other's TikToks.
Yeah. What?
Do you remember Varadkar appeared on Harris's TikTok?
I don't remember that.
That's upsetting.
I believe it, though.
Yeah.
It was epic crossover of Irish political history.
Since Collins appeared on Connolly's TikTok back in, you know. Just trying to think of two Irish revolutionaries. That's how fucking pathetic, you know. But so I just was saying, like, he was like, Harris was the obvious successor, but then it just was kind of like he got sidelined, and then he made a number of attempts to get back in the limelight, one of which was he was the one. It's widely believed that he was somebody who so Varadkar went to this party that broke COVID guidelines, but it's widely believed that Simon Harris is the one who leaked it to the Independent, the Irish Independent.
Golfgate, right?
So it wasn't Golfgate. It was actually after that. It was remember Catherine Zappone was going to get a UN special envoy
And she threw a party. And then after that, do you remember people were like, you broke COVID guidelines. And Varadkar was like, no, he didn't. And then the morning he said that, they updated the COVID guidelines.
Yeah.
To make it so that he hadn't.
Oh. They were so eager to save him. But like, that was, so what happened then when Harris is like, you know, are you just in the wilderness for so long? And then the fact it was like, okay, now Leo's out. Who's the next person? And I would have said like Helen McEntee. And then Helen McEntee's like, no, I'm not running. And then suddenly it was like, I guess it's fucking Harris. Yeah. So then Harris comes out, and all of a sudden it's like he's back, and then you're like, so he's going to do like this kind of caretaker, like, oh, I'm a safe pair of hands, put back. And then he takes to the stage and he does a speech, and he's like, you know,
the wildest speech is so crazy.
And so they're like telling him like, we need you to sing entirely out of your register, and he's like, okay, I can do this. It's like, you know, like his whole thing has been about how he's cute and adorkable, and now they need him to be like, we need you to be fire and brimstone, Ian Paisley, bashing the podium. And he goes up there and he's like, and
I love the like take our flag back speech, because I think one of the most underrated
such a good speech.
Of that speech is that he says the line about 5 times, increasingly more pathetically, like take our flag.
I know, yeah.
Take our flag
back. He's like he needs to convince himself of what he's saying.
I know.
He's like he starts up softer and then he goes up again and then goes soft and then goes up, and it's just like it really felt like watching Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator. Just like when he was moving his hands as well and trying to, I don't know, it felt so ridiculous.
Everything we've seen from everything that's meant to be a sound bite, because the other one is like, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh my God! Shut up. And he seems like he's gonna cry. He's like, you ain't
even the way when he
yet.
says
everything,
when he says you ain't seen nothing yet, he's like, sorry. No, it follows up. He goes like, they say that we're lackluster and we don't have energy. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. And it's like, somebody pointed it out, which is that like, he realizes what he's saying as he's saying you ain't seen nothing yet. And so when he trails off, he's like, fuck. You know, where the implication is like, if you think we're lazy now, you ain't seen nothing yet. And he just realizes what he's doing. He's like, fuck.
Yeah.
But he's a real drip. He just like, that's the thing he looks constantly damp to me.
Yeah.
And like very unconvincing as an angry elder statesman, but like I guess this is what they're going for. They want to try and instill I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Remind me of Ed Miliband as well. Limmy always talks about this clip, you know, the one where it's like Jeremy Paxman, I think, was interviewing him going like, people say that you're not tough enough. What do you say to those people who say you're not tough enough? He's like, in your answer to, am I tough enough? Hell yes, I'm tough enough. You know what I mean? It's such everything. It's just so unconvincing. It's like, why don't you just play with the guy you know, as in like you have this guy, you know that he has these certain strengths, and it's like we're gonna run him as an entirely different person. Yeah. It's like, well, that's. I don't know.
It does kind of seem
that's why they pay those advisors the big bucks.
It does kind of seem like they had a role in mind, but actually didn't have anyone to fill it. It kind of seemed like they wanted, like, we need fire and brimstone Fine Gael leader, and then they looked around the room like, shit. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just thinking about, like, Doctor Who, like, where we like, we have this young kind of exciting fella, Matt Smith, taking over for the Doctor. I think he was like 26 when he played the Doctor. And then they were like, what do we do? Like, real change of pace. Let's get like an old ass man who's like, you know, so they get Peter Capaldi, who is like, I think like in his mid 50s at that point, and he plays a very different person.
Yeah.
But it'd be like if you did that, but like you switched the actors, where it's like, you know, we have this old crusty conservative man. Yeah.
But he's not even, he's like your man. Who's the woman Doctor Who?
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah. And her assistant is like a granddad, and the guy who's like afraid of climbing ladders.
Anybody who watches Doctor Who, they're laughing their whole life.
Yeah.
No,
made the man afraid to climb ladders Taoiseach. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
So it's not looking great, but
no, it's not good.
No. That's fine.
It's not the same as it was, to be honest. Yeah. Well, with that, we are approaching time. So I just want to say, Gareth, James, thank you once again. Where can people find you and your lovely podcast?
I actually think you can find us on www.celticligers.com. Let me just check that really quickly. And you can get it. And then we're on @CelticLigers on all social media. Somehow that wasn't taken. I have no idea. By the way, it is not www.celticligers.com, although apparently I own that domain name, so I just need to change. So maybe just check back. By the time this comes up,
just go to the
Just ruined your whole weekend. You're gonna make a website.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the Instagram or Twitter.
@Celtic Ligers on Instagram, @Celtic Ligers on Twitter. And then we're on, all podcast platforms that are good. Spotify, which is really good. We all love Spotify.
We all love it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right. With that, we will. Oh shit! No. GYROVISION 2024. There are tickets still available on the 11th of May for our alternative Eurovision show because there's a boycott this year. Do not watch the actual Eurovision. Come to our show. Pay money to get in. It's like 4 hours plus of entertainment. All the money goes to Medical Aid Palestine.
4 hours.
Amazing.
4 hours, Uma.
Jesus. Okay.
And if you're not in Berlin, it'll be live streamed on twitch.tv/Späti. Do not alert anyone from Universal Music Group. Thank you very much. If you work for them, you have to tell us.
Yeah.
With that, we will catch you on the bonus feed. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.